We're just going to work on that a little. Aha! Are you live streaming right now?
No, I'm just.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know how to play.
Oh, are you?
I'm not that far yet.
All right.
So, even though we're live streaming, no question is stupid, right? So we'll. And please interrupt me anytime. Are we already doing?
We are live right
Oh.
now.
You're live. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for coming to my talk about urban sketching. I see a lot of familiar faces. I think almost everybody has kind of been in my class at one point or another. Cool. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you to the crowd in Facebook land. Hopefully I talk loud enough. All right. So I'm going to be talking about urban sketching. It started with about 15 years ago, Gabi Campanor. Where's my book? Oh. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Gabi Campanor, he was a sketcher who was working for the Seattle Times in Seattle, Washington, and he just did some editorial pieces and did sketches for that. And then he started the urban sketcher movement. This is the first Bible of the urban sketching. Never, if anybody's interested, I can send some links to you guys. And it became a global movement in the last 15, 20 years, where a lot of people do that medium and go outside and record the community. Let me see here. There's the manifesto. The main thing is that we draw, as an urban sketcher, we draw in the community and we draw from life. Anything that's happening, be it maybe a protest or maybe a farmer's market or maybe a construction site, anything like that. We don't draw in the studio or alone from photos or a set. So it's just something that's out there. But that's just the manifesto for the urban sketchers. If you just like to draw and you want to be in your backyard, please, by all means. We all need to draw a lot more, right? So that is just nice to have that there. And to have the urban sketcher group, it's nice to be in a group. Go outside, because I don't want to really go out there and sit in the corner, do my sketching. You know, it's easier in the group. So to that effect, and I'm going to start at the end, I have started with a couple of other urban sketchers, the local chapter here for Daytona Beach. So we're right now in the process of being an official chapter with the global movement of urban sketching. But we have been meeting since December when we started. We're going to go from, our group is from New Smyrna Beach up to Palm Coast, Ormond, and then west into DeLand or Sanford. So that is kind of our area, because there's an urban sketcher group in Orlando. The next closest one is in Jacksonville. There's one in St. Augustine, and then Orlando, of course. And then I think one in Cocoa. I think they're starting one in Cocoa. So, but this is nice. You don't have to drive far, if you're in here. And the main thing is it's all free. So there's no membership required. It's all free. You can come to all of the outings or just one or two, whatever suits you. I even encourage carpooling, if we're going maybe to DeLand and then I'm in Port Orange. If, people want to just drive together. We did that for the Orlando 10-year anniversary. Just recently, we all went to Lake Eola. So there was a group of 6 of us and we carpooled over there. That was really cool.
So we would just email you that we want to be part of it.
So how we get out the events and everything and what's happening is on Facebook. So we have a Facebook group. It's it's Urban Sketchers Daytona Beach. Again, even if you're not interested, maybe go in there and become a member, because again, it's free, and then we want to have a lot of membership. We're up to like 160 or so. And then you can see the events that are happening, like the next one that we have is actually tomorrow. And we're kind of slowing down because, it's so hot and it's always outside. So we're going to actually go to the Tiki Docks in Port Orange, the the restaurant that used to be the fish.
Mhm.
And we're gonna be sitting up there. I mean, it's gonna be in the open, but there's gonna be shade. So we're gonna do a luncheon draw. So you can sketch each other or the food, or you can do the view for the Halifax, or the Dunlawton Bridge, whatever. So that's what we're gonna do. We usually meet for 2 hours as a group and select a spot, and we're open to ideas for where we're gonna go. And then we usually draw for 2 hours. You can be, maybe I'll go with you, we're gonna go over there, and 3 of you go over there, but we're in that same area. And then after the 2 hours, we do a throwdown where we all take our resulting sketches, we put them on the floor, and everybody oohs and ahs, and we take pictures, take a group photo, and that's the end of the event. It's just really nice to draw in a group, because you can feed off each other, see what materials are you using. There's always someone who has a really cool pen. Like, oh my God, I gotta get that. So that's kind of what this is for, just being a nice community of artists.
We take our own chairs, I assume, outdoor chairs.
Yeah, you want to bring your own chair, sunscreen, a hat, some water, but yeah. And I'll get to the materials, that's minimal to get into that. Yes.
I'm looking at the announcement. I don't see a time. You might want to check that.
Ooh.
Maybe it's in there. I don't know.
Yeah, 11 to 1.
Okay,
I'll double check that.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, cool. All right, so urban sketching. And there's literally thousands of people now globally that do urban sketching because it is so nicely accessible. You don't need a lot of material. There's a chapter in like every country. So you can go on their website, urbansketchersthink.org. I'm not really sure. But yeah, you can check that out. And even if you're like traveling, like I'm gonna go to Germany, I'm gonna be in Stuttgart. So I already checked out the Stuttgart chapter. Maybe they have a drawing event while I'm there. And then they will always welcome us with open arms. Say, oh, that's another sketcher from wherever. And they're gonna draw with us. So that's always cool. And they have yearly symposiums, conventions. This year, I think it's actually starting right now, early July in Toulouse, France this year. They had some in Amsterdam, in Portugal, so a lot of places where literally thousands of people go and just, they have little events like booths with some new materials set up, or you can meet all the other friends that you all now know from maybe Facebook or Instagram. All right, so that's the urban sketching group. So now let's talk about what we do. And please interrupt me if there's any questions. Okay, and I'm checking the Facebook feed so it looks good. Everybody can see me. Okay, so.
And you're actually on YouTube.
Oh, sorry.
Big time.
But we are shared on Facebook, so our Facebook friends know as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So actually, just to start off, because I just jumped right in, that was Kayla, our director at the artist workshop. We're at the artist workshop gallery in New Smyrna Beach, our new space, which is fantastic. And I teach at the artist workshop. I teach this class all the time. It's very popular because it is so nice and accessible and easy. And I also am teaching the same class in Daytona Beach at the League. And in October, I will be also teaching a shorter course of this same thing at the DeLand Museum of Art. So.
Thank you, Ruth.
It's my favorite class because it's really cool. I learn from the students as much as you guys learn from me. Like I said, everybody has a little different equipment or totally different ideas. So when I first started with urban sketching, I'm from Germany, so we travel a lot to visit my family, and I always wanted to go over there and paint all the castles and the street scenes in oil. But that would take forever. First of all the materials and everything, and then, oil painting takes like 3-4 hours. So that wasn't conducive. So I searched for something where I could still do some art. And one artist that is really big on YouTube, has his own channel, is James Gurney. He's a wonderful instructor. He did the Dinotopia books He also did stamps and this and that, and he does a lot of travel sketching. So that's kind of where I started the first year, and I didn't bring that book.
And what's his last name?
Gurney, Gurney. He's awesome. Check out his YouTube channel. So this is one of the books that I started out that you see, they're all falling apart because I always bring these to my classes. But let me see here. I didn't bring that. Okay. First, I started with gouache, which I really didn't understand that. It's like opaque watercolor. So I'm just now doing everything in watercolor. The main thing that you do in urban sketching is you have some kind of substrate. So a watercolor book would be good. They sell these nice hardbound sketchbooks. I mean, there's a million choices out there. I recommend this one. It's nice. It's a pentalic. And then as the years progressed, I'm going a little bigger right now. And this is the moleskin. This is like the creme de la creme. Mm-hmm. These are really nice. I mean, they're really nicely bound for just trying stuff out or what I do in my classes. I like this particular pad because this is a very versatile watercolor paper, and it's pretty cheap. So yeah, you just need watercolor paper on that. If you do watercolor, you can do urban sketching for adding the color. You can do watercolor is the most common. You can do markers. You can do colored pencil. You can do whatever you want, or you can leave it just black and white with the line work. So there, anything goes. But the main thing you really need, and this is what I usually bring when we go traveling. I have my sketchbook, and I have this, and that's all I have, and it fits in my backpack when we walk around town. So what's in here? Just the basics. A pencil, eraser, no ruler, because we're not doing architectural sketches, all right? We're gonna do whimsical, joyous stuff, so no ruler. And then I have a pen. We'll get to the pen later. And then if you do watercolor, I have a travel brush. They sell these, so they collapse. And then I have a little watercolor kit, and they sell a million these in different shapes and sizes. Oh my God. This is a nice one from Winsor Newton. If you're not sure if you get into painting, anything by Winsor Newton is a good entry point. It's not really for students. It's not totally professional. It's a good price point for anything. If in doubt, go Winsor Newton. And no, I'm not sponsored by it. All right. So just a couple of colors, mixing area. And then you would have maybe a little cup. Sorry. A little cup for your water. Or you can get one of these brushes. These are really cool. They have a water reservoir in the handle. They only come with a synthetic hair. So they're not the best, but at least I have forgotten a lot of times my little cup thing, like maybe a little pill box where you put water in there that you bring along. So this here untwists, and then you could put water in there. And even though it doesn't look like much, you can do like 3 or 4 actual drawings with that because it just kind of lasts forever. I don't know why.
That's
It
great.
just does. Yeah, these are really cool. And I get everything on Amazon. Yeah, I know. Hate to support them, but oh well. All right. Let's see here. Any questions so far? Cool. All right. So very simple, this stuff. And okay, so the pen.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you wet your paints with the water brush?
Oh, like when I open my watercolor. Here, let me actually leave that open.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I need some. So this is
seems like
not
we get
purest
the brush.
watercolor, you know.
Yeah.
So some watercolors, they wet everything, so it gets nice and fluid. I don't really do that. I just dip it in with my moist brush when whatever color I need at that moment. Yeah. So even though the sketches, let me see. even though the sketches are very colorful, it's really not the color that's the most important to me. I like the line work. So if you're into drawing, this is a really nice technique to use. So because it's all about the line work, and then the color is kind of secondary, even though a non-painter would be like, oh my God, I love your colors, right? That's what you hear first. But I like that. So do a couple of things. Oh, I wanted to talk about the pen. So, oops. So the pens, I used to go with a Micron, which I don't have anymore. It used to be, the point was like a felt tip liner, a felt tip, and it dried out pretty fast. So now I'm going to this Uniball, and I see a lot of urban sketches going to that too. It's more like a gel tip, and it just has a really nice continuous line. So, and it doesn't dry out that fast. So I like this particular one. Yes?
Can you use ballpoint?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Good question. So, yeah, you can use a ballpoint pen. You can go to the bank and get the free pen. Well, if you yank it off the chain, you can get that pen. You can do really nice drawings with the cheapest big pen that you have. It's fine. The main thing with the pen is that it's waterproof. And most pens that you find are waterproof. Why does it have to be waterproof? Because we usually start with the pen lines, and then we put the watercolor wash on top. So you don't want to have that ink bleeding. There are a couple of techniques that I usually do in my class where we're doing an ink wash, where it's good to have a water soluble pen. And again, to do that, I had to actually search high and low to find one that's actually water soluble. But once you have both, and I did that before too, I start my whole drawing, and then I want to put my watercolor on, and I'm like, darn it, I grabbed my water soluble one, so it's just all dirty. So just make sure you have both and know which one you're using. So, okay. So that's with the pen. But yeah, any pen really will work. You can even do like when you have a normal, what do you call it? The ballpoint pen. When you do a ballpoint pen, you know, they have them sometimes in red or blue. That just gives your whole drawing a totally different feel just by changing the ink color. So that's really charming too. Speaking of charming, that's what we want. Again, it's not an architectural sketch. We want something charming and cute. So you know that, oops, you know that you have a successful sketch if you show it and the viewer, their voice goes higher and higher. Oh my God, that is so cute. The higher it goes, the better your sketches. So, another thing that I do on my sketchbooks is I go over several pages. So that is that whole spread. So I did a nice panorama. You can do that. It's really neat. You know, you don't have to get to that normal standard rectangle of your page. You can go over the pages, and that's really nice and unexpected. And this actually shows that this is the high rise from my parents in Germany, which is, you know, just a high rise built in the 70s. And they're like, you're drawing that? That's just so boring. And then I showed them the sketch, and they're like, oh my God, that is really cute. So that's the one thing about the urban sketching, that you can just draw any mundane thing, and it just, you know, looks really cute. Because you're taking something, let's say, we always draw, the beginning of my class, start drawing like our materials. Like we literally open our watercolor kit and arrange some pens here, and then we draw that. Because it's so unexpected, it's so mundane. You know, usually when you think of fine art, oh, I have to paint the Eiffel Tower or the Taj Mahal. You know, first of all, that's overdone, and it's just, yeah. But if you do something mundane that really most people think, well, that's not worthy of putting on a canvas, and then you actually do it, it's really cool. You know, again, unexpected. During COVID on Instagram, a lot of urban sketches, they had a lot of challenges because nobody could really travel. So they had, you know, every week there was another challenge. Draw your dirty kitchen sink. Draw anything that's in your fridge. And I mean, those drawings were just awesome. They were just so cute. So for urban sketching, even though it's called urban, we don't have to be in a city and doing street scenes and all this complicated architecture. You can do anything. You can go in your backyard. You can, go to a cafe and you have a croissant and your coffee there, and you draw that. Those are really charming. So anything you want, you can draw. Like maybe all the plants on your windowsill. If you're more into organic stuff. So anything goes, as long as we draw, right? We all go home after work. Some of us were still working. Sorry. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited to go and draw something. I want to be artsy tonight. And then you sit there and you're like, I don't know what to draw, right? And it doesn't have to be anything highfalutin. It can be just, maybe your pet is laying there or an old sneaker. I mean, those are some really cool things to draw. All right. Let's see here. How are we on time? Oh, okay, cool. I don't know if you all want to see a demo. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to do, and especially for YouTube, but I can show you a couple more things here. There's a lot of books out there right now dedicated to urban sketching. So this was the first one from the founder, Gabi Campanaro. And then a second one just came out, I think, last year. Same thing, just so much inspiration. And if you look at that, most urban sketches use pretty much the same materials, but there are so many different techniques out there. It's just really great. If you want to, maybe I can just, if you want to look through that. So a lot of ones that are sanctioned by the Urban Sketchers group, but then they're also individual urban sketchers. This is Felix Scheinberger. He's from Berlin, and he does some really funky stuff. Let me first look what I'm showing here. Like here, I guess he was like maybe in Israel. I mean, those are really cool, right? Mm-hmm. Just some portraits
of
cool. People. Yeah. So he's just super funky. And you can see here too, it doesn't have to be color, right? I mean, just a nice ink wash. So for an ink wash, you have your stark black lines, and then you just put a little bit of a grayish tone over it for like the shadow areas or some emphasis on certain areas, and it just looks really awesome. Let me see. Over here. Just some, dirty alleyway. Do I have to sketch the Flatiron Building in New York City? No, I can go around the corner and have this dirty alley with all the, street signs and whatever, and that just looks really cool. And nobody else has done that before, so you're like, oh, I've done that, and it's really cool. Basically, you're showing everybody else the world with new eyes. All right. And what I always say in my classes, you learn a lot more from drawing something that's in front of you than getting a really nice picture from Google and then you're just drawing from a photo. You're not learning that much because it's already flat, so a lot of that has already been solved for you, and you're basically just coloring it in. So it's better to just draw this from life than a downloaded picture of the Taj Mahal.
Are you gonna draw us one?
Huh?
Are you gonna do a set?
Yeah, I'll see how that's gonna work. Oh, is that the voicemail or something? All right, a couple of other things. This one is a famous urban sketcher, Samantha Dion Baker. Hold on, this is like, oh, I'm getting feedback
From it.
on this page. Hold on, let's see.
Oh, that's interesting. That's funny.
That was like a delay or like a minute.
Technical difficulty,
Oh,
sorry.
is it fixed? Okay.
Technology.
So she does draw your day. So she does these really nice layouts of little things with a lot of text on it. These are very thought out, but they're really charming. Again, we want to do charming stuff. See here, like a collection of boots and a little bit of calligraphy and stuff like that. So you can do anything with this technique. Anything goes. Okay, maybe I'll get into some of these here.
Ruth, how much does
Yes.
your drawings change?
Oh, a lot.
Wait.
Oh, Thank you for segueing into that naturally. I have done this for like 10 years now, and I have a lot of sketchbooks, maybe 15 or so. And because I always bring them in my classes and everybody looks through them, as you can see, this one's like falling apart. So I just am now in the process of publishing my own book of all my sketches.
Is that yours?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
This is the prototype. I'm still working through it with, editing a little bit, but yeah, I'll probably have these all printed by October.
Congratulations.
So it has like all of my sketches. Thank you. And I'll have them available here. So, and little tidbits of art and the sites and everything else. But yeah, every single one of my sketches from the last 10 years will be in here.
Wow.
So,
Wonderful.
thank you. Yeah, it was fun.
So your style has evolved.
Yes, so actually, yeah. So this is chronological. So yes, my style has evolved. Just alone from the fact that I started with these tiny ones. Like for example here, when we go traveling, just to get over the fear of the first blank page, you get this pristine, nice hardbound book, like, oh my God, this first page has to be perfect. So you either put something in there. Let me see if I have one of those here. Oh, this one here. That was an idea from an urban sketcher. You just do something simple at home, like the calendar. This sketchbook was started last June, and then when I'm done with it, I put another calendar page on there with my last sketch. So again, and then you're done with your first page, and then the other pages are not so holy, and you're like, oh, I'll just draw. So, but yeah, so at the airport, you can sketch people. So if you're not into architecture, you can draw people, you can draw food, you can draw a whole bunch of plants, whatever it is, your pets. So this is again an idea of the ink wash, just some lines and then just some tone with black.
What are you writing on there? Are you just making notes
Oh,
to yourself?
Good point. So with these sketches, sorry, my phone is just all this spam. Let me actually turn it off. All right, there we go. Okay. Now it's okay. Well, that's probably a better example. That's a little bigger. Let me go to another one. Sorry. Okay, here. So this would be a very thought out page that you can do. And I always compare these urban sketches to a traditional painting. When you do a traditional painting, oil, watercolor, you usually go all the way to the edges. So in this here, you can do these nice vignettes, a blank space, white space is your friend. So you have your eye to rest a little bit. And then you can also write your title or maybe the location, the name of the town on here, do a little calligraphy. And, when I talk about calligraphy, it's not that old English from, the Middle Ages. It's like the modern calligraphy or just nice handwriting. And then you can even, put a little text on there. So in my classes, we have a whole segment on that and even how to frame it maybe a little bit inventively. But the text can be anything you want. It could be maybe a tidbit of this historical site. This was built in 2015, 18 or whatever. Or you can just talk about your day. I went there with my husband and I had the best gelato ever. Just something, because the text is a graphical element that just, coincides with your sketch. So it gives it a nice cohesive thing. The other thing that you can do that's different from an oil painting or anything on canvas is that you don't really have to color everything in. So I can lead the eye of the viewer to here. This obviously is most important to me, this tower and the fountain here. And then here, I'm just putting in the houses because I want to say, yes, there is a village there, but it's not really important. Because then if everything's colored in, then you don't really see any hierarchy, right? So you can do that. That would be very hard to do in oil. So that's the nice thing. And again, lots of, white space around everything. Let me see another one. Here too, without that text, it's just a painting, but I think it does it. And you can do a lot of other things in urban sketching. I had a stamp made on Etsy with my name, and then I put in the date on there, or you can buy, any stamp. If you maybe go to a museum right there, take that sticker or the ticket and glue it on there, they will then just make it more authentic, and it just looks really cool, and it gives a little bit more interest to the whole page. So when I started with the small books, I actually only put a drawing, not this one, on only this page, because I thought, oh, what if I have to rip it out and maybe I sell it? But then I'm like, well, these are my travel sketches. These are my memories. So I will never rip that out. If somebody really wants it, I'm gonna make a print. So that's why I do something on every single page. So, and then, you can turn it this way. Let's see here. So these were my initial ones. And then as time progressed, I noticed that I'm getting faster with drawing, with experience, and I was getting more interested in all the details. And that's when I switched over to the bigger books. And I could see that I could just get more in these drawings. Like this was at Stonehenge. I mean, that didn't take long. This was another stone circle here.
Yeah, that was your commentary on the Stonehenge was very interesting.
Oh, yeah. I hated it because it was so commercialized. And then we found this other stone circle, and that was really awesome. So that's why this one didn't get color. That was on purpose. But again, this still would count in the global movement as an urban sketch because I was there. It's a piece of the community. So again, you don't have to be in with all these rules. You can sketch whatever you want. Another thing that I do is some of this framing here. That's not really that visible on this one. Or I am pushing the color. So what do I really do on location? Didn't bring that sketchbook. Darn. Let me see. Oh, that's it. What I do on location, we sit there. It's nice to have a spouse or traveling partner that kind of has a little patience, and he likes to watch people. Mm-hmm. So we usually get, into a cafe or something, and then I sit there and sketch, and he has a beer or something, and then watches the people. So that helps a lot. A lot of these sketches I do in like maybe half an hour. But so I start with a quick pencil sketch. Just let's say I'm doing something out there. I just do the cars, just as rectangles, so I see where they fit. Just a quick composition with very light pencil, and then I will go over with my pen. Now, remember, this is permanent, so no erasing at that point. But you're just then drawing everything in, and you can be as detailed or not detailed as you want to. And that's usually takes about half an hour, 45 minutes for me, and that's where I would usually stop. And then when we're back at the hotel, or maybe even back home in the USA, that's when I put the colors on. Mm-hmm. And also that's when I think about the text, because it should be a little bit more thought out.
Mm-hmm. Do you usually shoot a photo so you can get the local color?
Yes, good question. So in the beginning, I was so obsessed about the local color. Oh, this house was pink, so I'm gonna have to make it pink. Now I'm more into, I can push the color and make it a nice composition. Nobody's gonna know that this house was really blue and I made it pink for the sake of composition. So this is what I did here. This is at Trafalgar Square in London. And this fountain here, the Nelson's column, which didn't fit. These lions in the front, those are actually made out of white marble. So I just liked it to frame it a little bit with this nice dark blue in the front, and then everything in the distance was a nice ochre greenish color. So that's what I mean with pushing the color. I just don't have to make it realistic. I rather change the color for the sake of a good composition and a nice harmonious palette.
So Urban Sketchers allows for that?
Yeah,
Put any color.
yeah, and don't worry about all the rules. It's just their manifesto. You can do whatever. Yes, for sure. The main thing
I
really
don't
they
want you to get in trouble now.
no. The main thing really is that you are outside, you're interacting with the community, and you're getting a record of what's happening in your community or wherever you travel. That's really the main thing. And to, do sketching. And yeah, for people that have never painted outside, don't worry. When I started, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be sitting there on the street corner and all these people will stand behind me and critique my artwork. No, that is not going to happen. What most people will actually say is like, oh my God, I wish I had the time or the talent to do this. That's all they're ever going to say. They're going to be so envious. They wish they were you. So you only get good comments, really. So.
You don't get that, get out of my way. You're blocking the sidewalk.
No, well, you have to select a good point where you're not in the way, but yeah, for sure. And then my travel sketches, my book, I usually finish one book for like 3-4 weeks. And then if you have tickets or anything, like some maps, in the empty pages in the back, you can put those in there. So you have a nice memory. So the other thing that's really nice about sketching while you're traveling or anything else, it's your practice, but when you're traveling, my husband is going click, 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 he takes like 1 million pictures and he doesn't remember anything. But when I slow down and I actually sit there and look at the scene, even if it's something mundane, and I just sketch it, I remember a lot more. I don't just remember visually, I remember the smells, the sounds, even the dinner that we had, all this stuff. And it's just way better because who looks at their photos, right? And if you come home, you're like, oh, I was in Paris for a whole week. Do you want to see all my pictures? Oh, no. But if I say I was in Paris for 7 days and I have a couple of sketches, nobody has ever said no. So, and again, this is your nice memory of your trip. Another thing that you can do, here. So I usually start any book with waiting on the plane, waiting for the plane. And those are really nice, that nice big cigar shape. It's just really cool to sketch that. Don't put in your tickets, glue them in because they're printed on that flimsy paper. It literally fades after like a week. So I learned to actually sketch the ticket. But yeah, so here, see how that is a nice inventive frame. So I'm just framing that off on my whole page. And then I have some text here. So you're gonna lay it out really nicely. And then what I do in my travel sketching, I usually do a map. Now those are really fun to do. And you can do that on the flight over, you can do that in the beginning when you're still home or after the fact, because invariably if somebody looks at the sketchbook, they're like, well, where exactly did you go? And then, I can just customize my map and just include the cities that we actually visited and even, make a route and everything else. And it's just a lot of fun to do those maps. And then a little diary. Do I need you to read all this? No, that's just more for me personally. Yeah, this is just another layout element for that. So these are really fun to do. And
Did you do the diary as you were traveling, or did you?
I think I just wrote it on a piece of paper and then I kind of laid it out here. Yeah. Let's see here. Any questions so far?
A practical
Yes.
question. These are essentially your memory books. You're
Yes.
making memories, saving
Mhm.
memory books. But what is the practical way that you could make, you said if you wanted, you could make a print.
Mhm.
What if you actually had a couple of these and you went, I really like this, I want this at my house?
Mhm.
Do you just take this book to someone?
Oh, yeah, so you would get it professionally scanned, and there's a nice company that I use if you want to get it professionally scanned in high res. You give them the book, I think they charge like $5.
But it's not
really
like
cheap.
he goes, you would go to someone.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what I
like,
asked.
I think it's called Central Blueprinting in
Okay.
Port Orange on Ridgewood. So
Well,
they
that
do
place
that.
in the shopping center where Publix is, they'll take any picture.
I do, but that's where I do all my note cards.
Yeah, you just want to have it
Oh,
professionally
yeah.
printed as opposed to
But
just
it's not
taking a
great.
picture.
Yeah.
It's relatively cheap. And then, just get them printed. I know a lot of my students go to the FedEx or the UPS store
right.
here.
Where Publix is on
Yeah.
44.
Okay, so on Publix on 44, right there, the UPS store, right? So they print you nice greeting cards if that's what you want to do. Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. Another thing that I do, these little ones here, these are just super quick. So this is more of a thought out one that maybe take half an hour and then the color later on. These here are all like during a guided city tour where someone talks about the history of all this stuff. It goes, yeah, I forget all that stuff. I'm that interested. So I rather do the visual thing. So while they're talking about that, I do little sketches of these. And these are all these 5 are probably 5 minutes each. So there's really no detail in them. It looks like there's a lot of detail. And the reason why it looks so nice in 3D, you get the sense of the light, is because of the shadows. The shadows are placed correctly. And in my classes, I always talk about the shadows. They have to be the right color. They have to be the right placement. Don't make up your shadows. And that will make the whole thing interesting. Hello. And just, like a little quirky, but, you get a sense of light if you put in the correct shadows. That's really what makes or breaks your art. And in my classes, I talk a lot about generic principles that you can apply to any other artwork or technique. But yeah, shadows are super important. You want to get those correct. And then you're halfway there. Like here, I did my husband in the style of this guy from Berlin, a little quirky. I said to him, it's not supposed to be a portrait. It's just you were there with me and you had a beer as usual. Because, I have to do something while I sketch. So, another example that's actually on this page. So this technique is very accessible to the beginner or the professional artist who has been painting forever. For example, this here. This is 2 houses and they're totally frontal. There's no side, so there's absolutely no perspective. So when you really go down to it, it's like a rectangle here, and then you have 2 triangles, and then you just have a couple of windows, right? Anybody can do that. And it just looks so charming. And then you put a little bicycle there, a little text here, and then splash around some watercolor. And you got a really charming sketch. So that, again, is really easy for a beginner. Whereas, like that. That's like perspective times 10, right? So you have to get that right. You see, it's looming over you and you've got the perspective from 2 different sides and it's a bridge. So that would be for a, more experienced painter. So this technique, just going outside, you can do it either way. You can do it super simple with just a nice outline, or you can do something more detailed and more perspective-wise. So, yeah, let's see, I put some stickers there. They had a little stamp there. I don't remember what that was. So, let's see here. Like here, I pushed the color. So, another thing is, again, in art, generically, you want to have a harmonious painting. So if you use every single color that you have, it's going to become garish, as opposed to if you just select a couple of colors and then it becomes very harmonious and easy to look at. And it's also easier for you as the artist to paint that. So I really only did like browns, reds, and then some kind of slate blue, and that's it. So imagine if I had a green tree here. That would just be too much, right? Or something yellow. So the less colors you use, the better it actually looks. Let me see what I have. So that is from my sister's house. I used all the colors. I think this is horrible. It's just way too much. It's just, I don't know what to look at. My eyes, oh. So it's just too many colors. So you want to really do just a couple of colors, and then it just looks much better.
So even if you had like just three colors,
Uh-huh.
you know, your three primaries or whatever,
Mhm.
you could, everything would be harmonious then. Would
Yeah,
it?
because when you have the three primary colors, so that's kind of the whole spectrum, and then you kind of in a mix, so you do have all of the colors, which is what I did here. See, I have a stark blue, I have a red, and then I have yellow. And then intermixing them, I'm getting greens and purples. So that is like the whole spectrum. I think this is too much. But on here, this one here, see, there's no trace of yellow or green. So that's more harmonious. Yeah. Right? That makes sense? Okay, cool. Okay, what else can I talk about?
Can I tell you one thing that you were asking?
Yeah.
Some of the photo copy places, like the one over here on Orange Avenue, there's a copy place in there. She mails stuff, she does everything, but she does copies. They can copy on heavier, thicker paper.
Oh yeah, some of the places will take your own watercolor paper, so it looks more like a fine print as opposed to them supplying it. So, yeah.
But you can save something that you want to hang or keep at your own home.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I just like to do the travel thing. I have so many paintings, so I'm running literally out of space because not everything sells. So I rather have literally 50 paintings in this than if these were all done on canvas. Oh, that would be a stack this high. So that's kind of where I'm going to. But that brings me back to maybe you're framing something. Hadas, if you can reach behind you, see that Athens Theater? You can just tape that, yeah, if you can give that to me. Yeah, you're not gonna hurt anything. Thank you. So aside from the travel sketching, you can also do a nice studio piece, all right? So this is the Athens Theater in DeLand. And this was done on a big watercolor paper. So is this really urban sketching? Okay, I wasn't sitting out there. I did this from a photo because it was kind of a commission. And I did it much larger. So this was probably a couple hours. But you can see this again. It's just frontal, right? I don't see two sides of the building. So there's not a lot of really detailed perspective here. It's just flat, the front. And then I call this like explosion, because I'm basically making this wider at the front. So it's kind of looming over you. So that's a little bit forced. And then just the nice colors. You all know the building, it's like a red brick building. So did I just use red brick? No, I used, purples and pinks and oranges. And it just looks so joyous, right? I mean, that's just fun to look at. And it looks like it was fun to paint. So, which was true. So that's where you can turn that into that. And then also the way I do my sky, I usually pool my sky color around the subject. So I don't go all the way to my edges, which again makes it really nice and, a little whimsical and just really cute.
So how did you get that onto the canvas?
Okay, so this is just watercolor paper. So this is one of those cradled birch wood pieces, panels. So this is the cradling, and they sell these in every size and shape and form. Amazon. They also have that at Michael's. And it's basically a wood board, and you take the acrylic gloss medium. It's comparable to the Mod Podge. So you just brush that onto your panel or on the back of your paper, and then you put it on there, you roll it with a brayer so it's really flat, and then you weigh it down with a whole bunch of books, heavy books. Overnight I usually do that, and then in the morning it's glued on there. There is no way of this coming off because I tried. There was one I messed up, and I tried to take that off. That is not coming off. And then, as opposed to having, a traditional watercolor like this here, we all know that you have to have a mat and then it's framed on the glass. So this is more the modern look to it, because I don't like the glass, because, you can, with the glare of the lights, you can never really see the whole thing. This is more modern. So it's my watercolor on my paper, and then I put on top of it cold wax. We just rub it on, And that's basically the varnish. So if I would spill water on there or whatever, or fingerprints, that's gonna not go onto your paper because it's
Cold wax.
cold wax.
Oh, that's what's-
Cold wax. Durand is the brand. But yeah, just look up cold wax. And that's how you varnish your watercolor, and then you don't have the expense of cutting the mat and getting a frame and doing it under glass. So, and it looks super modern, right? So that's how I do my bigger pieces.
Can you repeat what the base is again?
Oh, it's called cradled birchwood panel, or a cradled panel. It doesn't have to be birch, but yeah, you'll find that. So again, because once you get to a large piece, if this was just a regular panel, it will warp over time. So this is the cradling. They basically put this on there, so this will never warp, right? Because you have this here. So easy to frame, and it looks nice. All right. So that's kind of it. Does anybody have any questions?
Is there a class that's going to start like in October for like real beginners?
Yeah, so I had total beginners in my classes, and I had more professional ones. I had a lot of repeaters, and now I'm gonna put Joyce on. I have Joyce. She's awesome. She's 90 years old, and she's been taking all my classes, and she's just does the most charming things that shows you, even if you're 70, like, I don't know if I want to start this hobby. It's a nice hobby, and you can do it at any age. And I wish you would have brought your sketchbooks. They're cute.
Wonderful.
So she's actually working on a project. So again, what am I going to draw? I don't really travel. So she does a project where she just draws every single house that she has ever lived in and does a little story to the side. You know, maybe the neighbors that she had or the friends that she made or whatever. And it's just the cutest thing on earth. I mean, it's just adorable. I had another student, and she said, I want to do the travel sketching. They went on a cruise, but her husband wasn't really like, what am I going to do here for an hour while you draw? And she's not super fast. So she did a whole travel book after the fact. So she could really vet her photos. She could really think about the layout in peace at home. And it was really cute too. So you don't have to do it while you're there. Again, you're just producing a nice book for yourself, or at the very least, you're having a nice project where you can try your sketching skills, right? Because you only get better the more you do. You don't get better in art if you only do one giant piece a year. You want to do a whole bunch of small ones. Yes. So that would be a good, a good thing to do. Let's see here. So yeah, I do a whole bunch of little techniques during my classes, where you could loosen up, maybe, hold the pen at a different thing, try different colors, stuff like that. And when you're in the class, of course, with 10, 15, 20 other people, everybody has different ideas. Maybe someone's more into organic stuff. They only draw plants. I mean, you can have a really charming sketch doing a plant. Oh, I had another student, and she actually did one of these books, and they're really cheap. They're probably like $18. That's
There's
like,
on Amazon also?
yeah, they're like 40 pages or so.
Oh, wow.
She did a really cute, she was into animals, so she drew an animal from a photo and did like interesting tidbits, and that was like a picture book for her grandson. And it was just a project for her to do that you can really sink your teeth in, and then someone else could enjoy it. And it's like a nice little keepsake. Another idea that I usually say in my class is maybe, again, if you're not into architecture, do like a recipe book. Take all your family recipes, and then you can put all your ingredients as a still life, and then draw that, and then write down the recipe. And that would be a really cool, little wedding gift maybe.
That's what I did in your class, and my daughter has it hanging in her kitchen.
Oh, yeah. So, there is just so many ideas. And a lot of times too, is when you have a book and it's just the same thing, like a theme, right? Only animals, or only city seeds, or whatever, or anything that's blue. I mean, I've seen some like that, where someone says, okay, I'll draw anything that's blue. And you have this whole book of different things, and they're all blue in color. I mean, then it's just a cohesive idea, and one sketch by itself might not look so great, but them all together as a collection, oh my God, then they all look great. So there are just never-ending ideas of taking this further, or just practicing, or doing whatever you want. All right, I think that covered pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. I don't know what time it is. If there's any other question, or let me see what
Did your class travel at all, or is it all right?
Oh, yes, sorry. So just real quick about my class. So I have one coming up in October because I'm going to be in Europe sketching all August and September. So I might actually bring 2 sketchbooks with me this time. So I'm going to be back in October. I'm going to have one starting at the Artist Workshop, this class in October, the same one in Daytona at the Art League, and then a 4-week version of this in the land at the museum. I think it's like November. So, yeah, at the museum. Yeah, that's a new one. Yes, so it's all studio instruction, but usually during my normal 6-week class, I usually take the class out at least once where we're on location, close by where the studios are, and then we actually experience being outside, you know. And then October is nice, so it won't be too cold or too hot, and everybody really enjoys it. Again, we're all in the safety of a group, and we just really take all our techniques that we learned and put it into practice, and then just maybe you say, oh, this was really cool. And I know you always take your friend, you know, you do your...
She couldn't be here, but she says to say hello.
Yeah, thank you.
We sketch all over the place. You know, you might find a friend, rather than when everybody gets together, that you like to go sketching with, and you just go wherever they want.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. We have fun doing it.
Everything's always fun with more people. So that's the idea. Okay, so that's about my classes. And yeah, if you want to email me, if you want to stop by real quick, I'll give you my email address. If you're interested in the class at all, or the Urban Sketcher group, I'll give you the information individually. I didn't really print anything up, sorry.
So the thing tomorrow is at 11
Yes.
in Port Orange?
So tomorrow, Urban Sketches, if you want to just try it out, it's a lunch and draw. We're going to meet at the Tiki Docks tomorrow at 11, goes till around 1 o'clock. And we all just have a big table, and we all just, you know, don't have to order food with a big group. I expect usually our group, when we have met so far for the last 6-7 months, we had an average of 16 people participating. Oh, actually, let me show you.
So we don't have to bring chairs tomorrow because.
No, we don't have to bring chairs. That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna need some.
Yeah, I know, they're so heavy.
Just real quick.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes, at the Tiki Docks. So like this is the band shell, you know, I was doing something local. So this is my local book at the band shell, kayaking in Ponce Inlet. This was where we had the whole group meet in the land at the courthouse. So that was my sketch there. But again, that was with our local chapter. This was in an antique store in Daytona Beach. That was a lot of fun. So that's like just an ink wash.
Even I went there the other day, it was great.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
wonderful.
cool store. So that was nice because we had
My sketch
AC.
doesn't look like that.
So we try to select interesting things. I think in the fall we might go to Stetson because there's going to be, you know, the big oak trees, and we can just maybe do the grounds there. Oh, here's one that I did personally without the group. We were in Savannah, and I did the nice bread and breakfast, and then going over into the fountain, that famous fountain. So, you know, that's a very thought out page. You know, so how to flow, and then you can do all sorts of elements to, you know, connect 2 different things. This one we had in Port Orange, they had a VW meet. I mean, they were so excited. We had like 16 people, 20 people, I think, you know, sketched all these nice, cool cars. It was really awesome. So we, you know, we do a lot of stuff. This
Do
was,
you generally do a light pencil sketch beforehand?
yes, yeah. So just like this one, I went to KSC and yeah, I did a little sketch, just the triangle here, and then I just draw with pen. But yeah, by all means, if you're not used to drawing quickly or whatever, you can do that whole thing in pencil, very thought out, and then you just ink over it. You know, I just, with my experience, I can get away with just doing this triangle, and then I just do permanent right away with the ink. But yeah, you can do a thought out pencil sketch. There is no rules for that. Like here, that was really cool. So they had an astronaut signing. So I went and signed my sketch. And she was like really impressed. So, and then I bought one of the stickers. So see, that kind of just, you know, if it was without that, okay. But then that just elevates it, right? It gives it a sense of authenticity, and I was there, and something else. So those are really cool. We try different things. This was the one for the 10th anniversary of the
Lake
Orlando
Eola.
group where we went at Lake Eola. So, yeah. Oh, and then I actually did my grand dog. So if you're into pets and they're kind of just laying around, you can, you know, again, you don't have to do architecture. And then she was getting groomed. So, cool. All right. So that's the wonderful world of urban
And
sketching.
did you bring up plein air at all?
A what?
Plein air.
Oh, yeah. So
Because you want one of our
I'm one of the plein air artists at the paint out that's every October. And I actually do this technique.
You got one. You got one.
So, yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
it's gonna be
I'll be here for
beautiful.
another hour.
And Ruth is one of our.
So thank you very much for coming. And if you have any questions, give me.
This is also gonna be
Come here.
spontaneous art.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love you. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Woohoo. Thank you, YouTube. This has been the Artist Workshop Gallery on Magnolia with Ruth Squitieri. Aha.